Representative Darneille, what do you view as the most encouraging developments of the session so far?
That's a good question. These are hard times to find something that's encouraging. I think I would say that members are becoming more realistic in their expectations as we move forward with the budget planning, and as they become more aware of the depth of the problem and the challenges we have to resolve it, that people are coming together to try to find meaningful solutions without costing a lot more money.
What are the biggest remaining obstacles to success?
Like they say, the devil's in the details, so as the budget unfolds and those negotiations start to happen in more earnest, we'll see potentially those challenges being revealed about whether or not we can, sort of like, where can we get there from here? Can we actually solve the budget challenge with the tools that we have available to us now? What else do we need to employ as a new tool? Maybe it's the revenue package to voters. What's going to be in it? There's just a lot of negotiation time ahead.
Can you tell us about any consensus that might be developing over revenue?
Well, that's the real sticking point, isn't it? It's where we see the divide between the parties more sharply drawn, I would say. I think there are people who are going to get to that point where we need to roll out the budget who won't want to have that rolled out and don't want to be expected to vote on it if there isn't also an agreement on a revenue package. It has to kind of go hand in hand or we're going to lose people in the process. So I think that's probably the biggest obstacle ahead of us.
Beyond the budget, are there developments you think have been particularly encouraging so far?
Well, we're at a point in the legislative calendar right now where all the policy bills need to have gone through their respective policy committee by the 31st of January. And so the last few days of this week, the first couple days of next week are going to be very, very heightened in terms of the anxiety of particular members to get their bills through. The encouraging things I've seen, well, there are fewer bills coming out of those policy committees that are going to Ways and Means, which is the budget committee. So I think that members and policy committees have been pretty realistic about not forwarding on a lot of bills that are going to cost money.
Marriage equality has gotten a lot of attention so far.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction to what's been happening in that area?
Well, I think it's been getting so much attention that's kind of confusing to the voters. I've had a number of emails congratulating me on the vote that we've taken, and actually we haven't taken any votes yet on the issue. So I think there is confusion on the part of the public because there's been so much coverage and there was indication about a certain number of votes needed, and that vote has been received, and so the voters think we've already voted on the bill, but in fact it has not yet formally been enacted, and so that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine.
What's your reaction to what seem to be the bright prospects for a marriage equality bill?
Well, I'm very excited about it, of course. People may not realize that I worked for 18 years with people with AIDS, and in the early years of the epidemic primarily, but all through the time I worked with that population, gay and bisexual men were disproportionately affected by HIV and AIDS. So I've, in my human rights role back with the city of Tacoma beginning in the 1980s when we expanded the city's anti-discrimination code to include sexual orientation as a protected class, through my 18 years working with the AIDS Foundation, I came to see the discrimination that was that borne down on that community. And so this is really, for me, a 30-year process, and I'm very excited that we are moving towards completion on that. I know it's a divisive issue. Everyone does not agree completely on this issue, but I'm really confident that our state will be able to implement it in a way that those people that have concerns about it, especially the church communities that have raised the most concerns, will find it will not affect their worship processes and their administration of their faith. So I think that's the one hurdle that continues to be perceived out there as one that's ahead of us, but I think we'll be able to manage that.
What's been happening with your own legislative agenda?
Because I'm the vice chair of Ways and Means, and I knew that would be obviously my biggest job this session, I don't have a lot of policy bills that are not related to that budget. I do have two that I've been working on now for more than 1 year, so there's some progress on both of those fronts. One is a ban on underage tanning in tanning salons in the state of Washington. That bill was brought to me by the American Cancer Association and the Dermatology Association to deal with the fact that we have very, very high incidence rates of melanoma in the state of Washington, and we have very, very high utilization of young girls, principally in tanning salons, and that's the #1 cause for melanoma for people under the age of 35. My other bill has to do with DNA collection on arrest. That means that when a person's been arrested for a felony crime, or if they've violated a protection order, let's say for domestic violence or stalking, their DNA would be collected at the time of their booking. We can solve cold cases, we can basically convict the right people for crimes, so we can exonerate people who might previously been charged and convicted and served time for a crime they didn't commit. And I'm just very excited about the fact that we actually have something on the horizon where we can use a 21st century fingerprint, if you will. It's a technology that removes bias in our system. There's no racial disproportionality in it. There's rational, scientific, irrefutable evidence that a crime scene sample of a DNA from a crime scene matches the DNA from a person who is convicted of a crime. So I really come around on my personal view on this issue, and I'm really happy that there are a lot of people that are interested in it this year.
Thank you.